That heifer right there just don't even care.
Take yourself out.
What do you say, folks? Hope everybody having a fine evening on this Sunday evening. No, ours was pretty good. Not too bad. Made it to church. Good service. Got some nice, not so humid weather today.
Not quite. It was still warm though.
Yeah,
Very warm.
it still made for a tolerable day, that's for sure.
It wasn't bad outside.
Especially get out there on the porch swing and just listen to the critters for a little bit instead of burning up so bad. But let's see. I don't have a whole bunch of. Let's see, how was it told to me the other day? Stooging. I don't have a bunch of stooging going on this evening.
Well, you got to and tell our special guest too.
Well, I told, or I asked him, I said, can you be here at such and such time? Let us get through the prayer list, then
Okay.
talk about the honeys that come in. Then
What did you
we'll have him.
do for the honeys?
I actually made a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
And I didn't let you know, but
I'm proud of you.
surprise,
Yeah.
here we are. So we got a plan for the first 15 minutes. Where it goes after that,
And staying on Honeybees tonight. We're not derailing.
well, I can't make any guarantees on that, especially possibly later on. But we'll get in that just a minute.
If he wants to, then we'll go there. But
Yeah.
we are not going to derail the conversation tonight. Lord willing.
Holler at
You
everybody.
go, but
Right there. Thank you, mate. Thank you. I know that was Mr. Nate putting that.
yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
man.
Nay.
Holler at everybody got that. Danae jumped the gun on first.
Yeah, I seen she claimed it with a trophy emoji.
That was Joey was second and Philip in third complaining about how she got there. But Ed, good to see you, brother. Mike Tangway, Todd, keep yourself out of trouble this evening. Keep cooking.
He promised, Todd.
It's me again, Joey.
Hey, Kimberly. Hey, no worries. Man, I'm sure your spring and summer honey's delicious too. Don't even worry about not waiting for goldenrod.
Oh no, mate. That's all up to you there. Keith, appreciate you, brother, on 1,000 subs.
Can y'all believe it?
We made it.
We made it.
Philip, one of them Texans out there.
Hey, don't talk to him too much. He's driving.
Oh.
You don't need to be chatting.
Keep your eyes on the road. Brian and Jen up there in the pretty country.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Tom and Matt.
Who else?
That's somebody still not seeing if you're okay.
Darren, good to see you, Captain.
Mr. Roy.
K. John,
Mm-hmm.
friend over there in Louisiana.
Don't do any crushing anything.
Don't crush. I don't know if I made it there. They're probably on another conversation. Mr. Mark Miller, can't believe you be Mike. Good to see you, Jack and Danae.
Oh, there's Miss Leona and Miss Jane and Pastor Larry.
Larry Moore.
Hope y'all are doing good.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw Larry Moore's name. There's DC. Hey, Catherine and Dale.
JW leaving from Walmart.
Hey, Mr. JW.
I said, sorry.
I just told you not to say that word.
Todd, yeah, I forgot. What did Todd or say again?
I don't know, you were going, no, Mr. Roy. No W word. No M's and no W's.
But appreciate everybody coming in, joining us this evening. Mr. Mike Berry has been gracious enough to sit down and chit chat for a little bit. So y'all, if you got a question or two on how he does things, and, I'll get them ready and we'll star them here and
Don't go
Put 'em up.
backwards now.
No, Todd, I'm gonna try to keep going forward. We were doing good. But where am I on time? Oh, yeah, we need to roll. All right.
You're yapping over here.
All right, y'all. If there's anybody we need to add to, take away from on the prayer list, y'all let us know, and we'll get you added to or share your blessings as well.
Oh, the stupid, what you call it, auto text messed it up. I meant to say Miss Melanie, not Miss Maloney,
Oh,
but it's changed it. Oh,
absolutely good. Yep, Melanie Crew, good to see y'all too. Appreciate everybody coming by.
Alright. We got Mr. Mark, Ed and his family, Mr. Pat, Miss Deb, Grammy Lisa, there's her son and two granddaughters, Bob and his family, Tom, his wife and his mother-in-law, Mr. Donnie, Mike Tangway and his family, DC's parents, and especially his stepdad.
Said he's doing better.
I was gonna say, even though he said he was doing better, but still, I'm sure that was a scare for him. David Hoskins, granddaughter Emma, baby Luca, and family that lost their little one. Deanna Wheeler and her son Reed, Rachel Wilson, her sister Amanda, and her niece Riley, and then Philip's mama and his friend BJ and his wife, the Jennifer Brown family, Bobby Spees and his family, Minnesota Mike and his brother, Aaron Frederick, Mr. Larry and Miss Sherry Gandy, and Mr. Larry's mama, Keith Larimore, Hillbilly Earl, the Paris family, Icy Mountain Honey's family, Bruce with his bees, granddaughter Unsong, Steve Amos's brother and mother-in-law, Spanky, all the war victims and storm victims, Jegs Farms' wife, Sean Balterse's wife, Mr. Ron, one of Blaine's bee yard owners, TJ Hanley, Stafford Mott, Shabu, Ricky Rourke, 29 Homestead, mine and Tim's families, Grammy Lisa's friend Lime, Catherine's son and his family, Sarah and her family, the Leonard family, Randy, the Tar Heel beekeeper, his mother-in-law, Cece's Texas Garden, not Guardian, Earl's mama, Miss Vivian, and y'all still be praying for her, but he sent us a message a few days ago and said she got to come home from the hospital. So super glad to hear about that. Philip's mother-in-law's sister, Miss Leona, Terry Chapman, Kenneth and Chris Wilkinson, Vincent Kalunga's son, Ephraim, Terry Bertoland. I don't know if I butchered that or not. And then Ed's father-in-law recovered. Yeah, that's past his neck surgery. So he's recovering from neck surgery now. DC's friend Garrison, and then we're gonna add a family we know, but it's the Williams family. But it's a couple. They're real close to mine and Tim's age. They've lived around here for years and years, but
Generations.
yeah, literally. But they lost their little 5-month-old son last week. So if y'all would please be praying for them. But that's the end of our list.
Y'all please pray for that family. Lord, I couldn't imagine dealing with nothing like that, but they was just broken down, husband and wife. So y'all please with them, that family up again. But all right, we'll see you writing real fast. We got
No, thank you.
Tom said his surgery, he's doing better with his knee surgery, and pardon me, DC's stepdad is doing better.
Miss Melanie, it is the Williams family. Is their last name.
Uh,
Oh, hey, Redfish. Good to see you come in. And Shane.
all right, we had what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 honeys come in the other day or this past week, and we're gonna show everybody's off. But there's some pretty stuff that come in and show off Philip's fancy work, Spanky's collection of hot honey, and I'm gonna say my favorite, but I'll save that for last. But let's see. First of all, we had come in West Cliff Honey Company there, Mr. John. Let me get that. Show us there we go. Too much brightness on it, but I like those clear labels.
Yeah, the bottle
cool.
looks really good.
And you got a nice little tag and everything to go around that gives you don't microwave and all that good stuff. Basically everything the states tell you to put on there. As far as
But it's a very nice presentation.
it is really nice. Like I said, that was West Cliff.
And it tasted really good too.
Next one here, yeah, Mr. Roy.
That's some really pretty honey too.
Yeah, you just about see through that there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make sure he ain't got no addresses. We don't want to. But yeah, got him a nice little tag going on there as well. And Mr. Roy, your extra body you sent, yes, sir, we'll be going to one of the local church food pantries around here, and we'll make a video of that whenever we get that distributed out to. Got an idea of which church would be a good home for it to go out to. Let's see, since Philip is driving, Philip sent his in. He had it all night once again. He did kind of like last year.
Gift baskets.
Yep. He got his Capel and Richland. Sent a couple more of his. These ain't brides, he says. Sent a couple more of his lip balms like last year and all.
And Sophie sent me some new bling.
Set the camera, pick them up. Hannah's been wearing them all day with Sophie.
I have
But-
one more in church this morning.
They're gonna make it work.
I love the earrings.
They won't hold still. But yep,
I had worn nothing but those 2 pairs of honeybee earrings for a while now.
that's his Richland. There. Pretty clean stuff. Just about see through.
Was it Capel?
It was the Capel.
Man,
That's fall.
that stuff was incredible.
And that's Capel Spring. There.
But both of those were just like really big honeys. Like they were really good.
Richland was very much different than Capel. I will say that for honey.
Oh, hey, Sophie. She's in here by herself. Well, since you're here, I'll tell you for sure. I really appreciate your earrings, girl. I love them. Like he said, I wear them all the time. Spanky's collection.
Yes, he sent some blueberry honey. Never had any kind of infused, just money honey. Now we had Brian and Jim's cream honey last year. That blueberry, that was doggone good. Then he sent along 2.
That blueberry infused honey. Or did you not open that one?
Yeah, I opened.
Yeah.
I just cut the plastic.
I was like, I thought we did.
That's his hot honeys. And you got to say, they got a little heat to them
Vincent's in here.
from across the pond.
Yeah. Hey, Vincent.
I appreciate you stopping by, brother. 'Cause I was looking at time the other day thinking, it's 2 o'clock in the morning whenever we go live over there.
But he said that Ephraim's doing well now.
Good deal. It's great to hear, brother.
But it's awesome to see y'all in here too.
Yes, absolutely.
Darren, yeah, Spanky sent 2 kinds of hot honey.
Let's see what he sent us a little smoker keychain deal. Pretty cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Then, yes,
My favorite. What I can't wait for.
it's here. The dragon's breath is here, y'all. So we'll see how that goes. Possibly here in a little bit, maybe. And one more, then we'll get our guest in here. He's knocking on the door.
Okay.
And Phil from 33 Mile. He got some real pretty clear stuff too.
Really, really like stuff.
But what I was going to say was my favorite, because the man remembered this from a while back.
Yeah.
He said this fell into the box.
Yeah. I about died when I seen that bottle. I was like, no. What?
Pure Michigan maple honey. I'll explain that story later on. But
Eat it by the
Yes.
spoonful. Like you don't even need a biscuit or a pancake or nothing. You can just eat it with a spoon. It's so sticky good.
we used to get that when I was a kid. But like I say, after our guest one, I may dive into that a little bit or another day. But yeah,
Are you ready?
y'all ready? I'm ready. I'm anxious too. I got all kinds of questions for the man.
Todd said you gonna light up like the 4th of July if you have some of that hot stuff.
What's that? That pepper?
I guess. I don't know if he means the pepper. Yeah, he's prepared. Yeah.
I'm prepared tonight. They had them on sale.
We talked about this,
So,
but I didn't win.
all right,
As y'all can see.
let's get the man in here.
No more to
Hey,
it.
he's knocking on the door.
See, I was knocking on the door, right?
Y'all open her up.
People that move too. Keith
What's-
gave me an introduction. Like a drum roll.
Y'all can hear me
Yeah.
all right? Everything's good?
Yes, sir. We can hear you good. Can y'all hear him out there?
Yeah, can y'all hear?
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Had me a few technical difficulties getting there a little late.
Hey, don't worry, Captain. If you watch our show, so you know the whole show with the technical difficulty.
People come here just to see what's gonna happen.
That's why I'll tell you, hold on to your britches. We'll go somewhere with it.
Yeah.
I ain't afraid. I ain't afeared.
That's what he sent back to him. I thought that's
Yeah.
what we need right here.
Well, we're getting a crowd in here tonight, Mr. Mike.
There we go. They're all, that man's world famous.
I
Nah,
know.
that's that stuff. That's that Horseshoff. Horseshoff did that. He come up with that joker, and he yeah. But y'all got to remember that he's the YouTube rock star. That's what they called him at the Louisiana convention.
Oh,
That's what I
really?
call him, the Louisiana rock star.
Louisiana rock. I can remember that
Sorry,
one.
you're the famous one.
Get him one of them old style, 80s looking wings,
Yeah.
hard rocker. But, well, Mr. Barry, once again, we appreciate you joining us this evening and all. And what we were wondering, we get to see Mr. Mike Berry in the bee yard and things like that. And absolutely, we want to talk about bees. But we want to hear about Mr. Mike Berry for a few minutes. Your upbringing, we understand you as a military man, just kind of, first responder. You can just kind of tell your story or highlight on that, however you'd like, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, it all started when I turned 1. No, it's not a lot to it, really. No, I'm from North Florida, actually. I'm from just east of Tallahassee, Florida, off I-10 there. I grew up in North Florida, and I joined the military at 17, and I never went back. Not because I didn't want to go back. I couldn't stand the military the first 6 years or so. I wanted to go back every day I could, but it didn't ever carry me back. The Lord didn't carry me back there. I go back there regular and visit and all, but yeah, I stayed in about 23 years, and then yeah, it was 23 years, and then I retired and in Tennessee of all places, north of Memphis, and my wife was from Louisiana, so here I am in Louisiana. And yeah, I was an EMT for a long time, but I was a firefighter first, volunteer firefighter for 12 years. EMT, that's where that came into play. I did that from each duty station until I got to Tennessee, and then they told me they needed me really bad, but they wanted me to go through a rookie academy. I said, you gotta be crazy. I'm about 36 at the time. I said, I ain't going through the rookie academy again. Y'all want me or not? They didn't want me, and so I didn't want them, and so it kind of, I don't know. When I moved back to Louisiana, I almost went back to my old station and got hired on. They had a few paid positions, and then I went to work with an offshore company, and I stayed there 10 years and went to work for the state. And that's kind of where I'm at now. Started keeping bees. 2012 was when it all started up, and 2013 was my first season getting them. And I don't know, just been kind of ramped up real big for a while. And then just was too busy. And then when I went to work for the state, I decided I'm going to ramp back up, and I did. And now my job's got busy again. So I'm not going to slow down, I don't think, but I got to make some changes if I'm going to keep up with it the way I want to, the way I like to keep bees. So yeah, that's about it in a nutshell. Just kind of did a lot of everything, really, to be honest with you.
That's it. I was thinking he kind of bounced around a little bit.
Oh yeah. I bounced everywhere. I was in Virginia. I was in Florida. I was in Key West for 2 years. I don't know. I've been a lot of places. Been around the world pretty much, and now I want to start seeing the United States a little more.
Okay.
So,
I would like to see some of our homeland. I guess go out to, like I'll have to tell Hannah I'd love to go out, toward Wyoming way where Jack and Danae and them are, to see them beautiful open plains with them rolling hills and all that. But my luck, it wouldn't be what's in my brain. It would just be, I guess, more of what you'd see on TV, because I think of old timey cowboy days is where my brain is.
no, there's some of that out there. There's some of that
That's
out
where
there.
I'd love to be.
Virginia City and all that out there. That's all old Western towns. I've seen some of the United States, but we're gonna do all that. We're like my wife and I, we're like Chevy Chase and them. We are the ultimate tourists. We will go out of our way to find the biggest ball of twine, and we wear the shirts and everything. We do the whole, yeah, we're tourists. I mean, when they see us coming, we look like the tourist family. We're okay with that. We just enjoy it. We go out and we don't care, and so we just go out there with an open mind wherever we go, and we're going to do a lot more of it, Lord willing, of course, and just go see the U.S. We go see it now. We practice for retirement every summer and go for 2 weeks. So
That would be us going out of town. I just tell them, no, I ain't from here.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
that's right.
Where we going back? DC had a little something for you, Mr. Mike. I believe it was. Oh, how'd you get into bees?
Well, I actually I was out planting some fruit trees in my backyard, and I thought about pollination. I didn't know I know about pollination, but didn't And I thought, well, bees pollinate, and I remember when I was about 12 years old, there was this kid I went to. I didn't even know this kid. We were my mom knew the parents somehow. We were going over to visit, and she said, well, just go play with this kid. So I went and we went and played. We were on the fields. It was out in the country there. So we took out to the fields, and there were some beehives out there. And that boy, he said, come on, I'm going to show you something. And he popped lid on one of them things and pulled a frame of honey out of that thing. And we stuck our finger in it. I thought, man, that is the coolest thing I ever seen. So when I was out back, I don't know, man, 30 years later, planting fruit trees, I got to thinking and that about pollination, and that one memory came to mind, like those bees. I said, man, that would be neat. I should get a beehive. And so that's when I started, going after on the journey. And I did it by myself, and there was nobody helping me. I had a book. I stayed away from YouTube. Um, I do a little lecture. I've done it in a few different clubs and at the North Carolina meeting, and I did it for some folks in Missouri. It's a mentorship thing, and it's because I had no mentor, and that's why I did a lecture on that, because I believe in it so much. It would have been so much easier if I had one, but I just kind of winged it. And I also do a lecture on being careful with YouTube, because I knew by the second year how bad forums and YouTube channels can get you in trouble if you're not careful, if you're just watching them carte blanche and just running with it. And so, I had nobody. I just kind of winged it, and I had Beekeeping for Dummies, and just bought my equipment. And that year I set up. I had some bees from Dr. John Harbaugh, no less, from USDA Bee Lab after he retired, and I got a package from him, and off I went. And it worked out for me. I was fortunate it worked out for me that first year. But yeah, that's how I started. And then I just kept learning. I'm still learning. I continue to learn. I go to these conferences. I go to these lectures. I do all that. I really enjoy learning more about what's going on as we learn new things, as we refine old ways, things like that.
Watching YouTube, I will admit, got us in a bind, but I'm going to say it was we approached it on far as like our first experiences with beekeeping, and that was on a removal. But it was a complete failure, 100%, and everything literally fell to pieces if it could, or we just threw our hands up in the air that day and said, if you're here tomorrow, we'll see you then. Then when we got back, they was, because what I'm saying on the YouTube part was we watched 4 or 5 different videos of people doing removal.
So easy.
We got this. And they're just getting the bees and taking them off here and there. Bam, they're going into the box. And
We weren't even close to getting there.
No, we watched them abscond that next day. But it's kind of funny you say that about being careful. You too. So we're guilty on that end.
But it's a you got to really I did watch one guy, and the reason I found him, I was looking for a way to verify, like to kind of show me how to shake out packages, because I read about it. And this guy, I pulled him up, and this is when there weren't a lot of beekeeping channels out there. And he came up, and as I watched him, I could tell he was brand new, and he was documenting his beginning of bees, and I could tell he was reading the same book just by the things he was saying and what he was doing. So he's the only guy I followed. I followed one channel. As I got into forums, and I had been in forums before when my son was racing motocross, I had been in the motocross forums. Those things will get you in a world of hurt. Those forums are opinionated. You don't know who's behind the screen. And I'm going to tell you, it was, they'll get you so lost. And if you're watching too many videos and get inundated with a pile of information before you get the basics, I really believe, and that's not everybody, but, Bob Benny once said, he said, beekeeping is an art. 50% of it, he said something like half of it's an art. Well, that means the other half to me would mean it's logic. And so anybody can go in with logic and go, okay, I got that checked. I checked that off. I checked that off. You can say, turn this nut left and then turn it right. It'll tighten back up. And that's easy. You can't do that with bees, but people will approach it like that as a step-by-step on YouTube. And that's where they get into trouble with that, and forums. So I stayed away from it. I studied, just like cutouts. Y'all talking about cutouts. I watched JP the Bee Man the second year. I found him and I watched him because I had a cutout to do. And I did overkill. I watched almost every one of his videos before I even attempted one. And it still threw me a loop. So it's just, not everybody's like that. Some people are great learning off YouTube, and that's fine. They just have it. But it's something we have to be careful with. I know that.
Yeah. I guess where you keep your bees, this was just me thinking the other week, especially with those storms coming in, and often most of y'all over in Louisiana, y'all stay soaking wet, whether it's you know, it ain't but rained in a week or so or what have you, that ground stays pretty wet. But I know it kind of jumping out a little further, but do you have to worry with the flooding as much over there where you are versus are you, I guess what I'm saying, are you kind of on higher ground about where you are and you can just kind of relax a little bit more?
I am. When it comes to flooding, I can relax. Well, the river's a couple miles away, but I'm up on the. If there were a bluff, I'd be on top of it. Like there's a big incline before there. The elevation goes up to about 90 feet. Where Mr. Ed is, for example, though, he's right on the little Boba Flyer, and that's where he did get flooded in 2016 and lost everything out there. So it's just hit and miss around here. It's so flatland. We're right near Lake Pontchartrain, so you can have a yard 3 miles from here, and it's flood prone. But where I'm at, no, not my 2 yards right now. Don't have to worry. Where I'm gonna put a third one in here next year. We don't have to worry about flooding in those areas. Thank goodness. Hurricanes about it, but
Yeah, Lord willing, we'll get fared on whatever's out there on that next drive coming in. Imagine y'all been watching that too, but I guess we really need to keep an eye on that one where they keep chirping a little more our way, but I guess they really know yet. But,
yeah, that looks like a Florida storm. I told Josh Ray on Facebook today. I said, "Tag, you're it." I tell you what, I'm tired of them. I've lived through a bunch of them down here. I lived down here for Katrina. I was stationed down here, and I was living in Pearl River where it came through. And man, that was. I wanted to give up then and be done with this Gulf Coast thing, but I don't know. It just keeps drawing me back.
well, what it comes down to is it's like we dodge a bullet right here in the middle. It either kind of hook up toward Louisiana, most everybody, either Louisiana, Mississippi line right there, or it'll make that little curve and mosey on over toward the Panhandle of Florida or the Big Bend area and all that. But it just kind of gets us in that middle portion of, well, we've been spared for so long. I ain't trying to call nothing up by no means, and I don't want anybody to get one, but whenever it goes, well, y'all know how it is. When it goes another direction, you're kind of like, whew, thank you, Lord.
Yeah, you are. I mean, that's just human nature. You don't want it for nobody else, but at the same time, you don't want it for you. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago. Y'all got a good one up your way. That reached y'all north of Mobile. I thought it was.
And well, Zeta about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't a, like Katrina, but it wouldn't. We got power for a week and a half.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
It could have been a whole lot worse, but it was worse than we thought it was going to be.
Well, we listened to the weatherman, and we're sitting here in a little single wide, and the weatherman talking about, oh, it's just going to be a tropical storm coming in. And we're like, okay, well, we have thunderstorms worse than this, so we'll just sit here. Well, by the time she got about 90 miles offshore is whenever it cranked on up to a low category 3. And it was too late for us to go anywhere. So it was like one of them, just hold on, boy.
That's all you can do.
And yes, sir.
Thank God it wasn't bad.
Well, you could hear things slamming up against this house and beating on the roof and all that good stuff. And for the ones of you a few weeks back when we told the story about the cop trying to jug me with the old taser in the power line, that was during all that. But yes, unfortunately, we just in that high peak right now. But anybody throwing out any questions right now? Did I miss them? Okay.
What? No, yeah. DC said, how many colonies are you running in each yard? You mentioned the third yard.
Oh, that third yard's not set up yet. That's something I'm thinking about. I'm working on some plans for a third yard. But I run only about, I don't know, depending when nukes are running and when I'm selling a few nukes, anywhere from 40 to 50 at the most right now. That's all I can handle. And it's really more than I can handle with since the job picked up a lot. But yeah, just on average, 40 hives between 2 yards. It's enough.
That's what I'm saying. That's a job in itself. Like 40 of them. We got to our. Go ahead.
Well, it depends how you're keeping them. If you want to keep them like Mr. Ed does, sometimes he does a whole different management strategy, right? And he and I work together with stuff, and his management strategy, we compare stuff, and we're totally different in how we do it. He's a lot of hands off, and he'll tell you that. And myself, I'm not. I want to be in them. I want to keep I've got to make the same amount of honey as they do with a third of the hives. So I've got to manage mine tighter. Well, with the job and all that makes it harder. So yeah, 40 will keep you busy if you got a full-time job and you manage them tightly. It'll keep you real busy.
So 20 kept me and her busy, and we out there together, and it was like, how in the world? I couldn't imagine 50, 60, 70 colonies out there in the yard without trying to find somebody to kind of come along and start picking up the grunt work in some areas.
Okay, I take a lot longer going to all of this.
Yes, because she ain't going to hurt no bee, y'all. And she'll put that frame down in there. And I'm not knocking on her by no means. She loves her honeybees, and she don't want none of them to get hurt. But she's going to make sure everybody gets down in there nice and safe. Nobody's bound.
I just don't like squishing. I don't, whatever.
It's that gentleman
Make
stuff.
fun of me if you want.
I'm not making fun of her.
I'm the same way. Just depends how they're acting. If they're mean, I just throw them in there and slam the lid on and say tough.
Now, there has been one or two times Lance's hot. That, yeah, I've been to the point where, you know what, y'all done taught me 17 times in one high. I don't care how many times split.
Yeah.
But
Now, she tells y'all just
as a
close in.
general rule, I don't do it.
Yeah,
I was at 75.
yeah. I was looking at his. It could be a full-time job if I had any more than what I'd have. I don't think I could keep them good, as well as I'd want to, and as healthy as I'd want to. And it's hard enough to keep them healthy now as it is. So, yeah, 40, and that was. I wrapped that up when my job was slow, and I was actually working in another part of the state, another agency. And now where I'm at now wasn't the best job move for me, and it's got me so busy that you're working late some nights. So nothing can get done during the week. You have one day on Saturday. That's a lot for I don't know, 50, 60 colonies. Yeah, it's tough the way I want to keep them.
That's what I'm thinking. Even if it was my full-time job, I don't know if I could really manage that many colonies. That's a lot.
If it's my full-time job, it might be a little different then. Then I can schedule my days and keep my weekends to myself. That's different. I think I could work in the morning. You get up at 6, get your coffee, get your devotion time done, roll out there at 7:30, work till noon, 1 o'clock. When it gets really hot, you can get a lot done. So.
Yeah.
That's time to get out there for the heat around him.
Yeah.
Can you give a little insight for Matt at Moore's Homestead? Can you read the comments or need to?
Yeah, how many frames does a queen need to lay this time of year? I'm struggling with too much honey in the brood nest. It just depends where you're at. Down here, it's a hard question to ask unless I know where he's at. Where about is that?
He's up in New York, I believe, New York State.
Oh, New York. I'd want him to start plugging the nest now because you got goldenrod coming out. I wouldn't want, I'd say depends if you're running. Another question is are you running singles or are you running doubles? I'm guessing doubles. If I was doubles, I wouldn't want more than 5 in the bottom would be fine at this point in time. That far north, I would think. Now I'm going out on a limb talking about New York, so that's a good ways up there. But I would keep that thing so heavy right now. I'd want that thing near about plugged out, except for a small center part in the bottom box. I'd say 5 frames. Down here, what I want right now is I'm okay with 7 in the bottom, 4 in the top right now, because as them 4 or 5 in the top, I have one that's just blowing up in the top right now. What I'm hoping they do is they emerge in the next 7 days, because they're about that far, and then they just plug that top with goldenrod, and I'm set for the winter. But I'd say 5 up north at a minimum. No more than 8 in the bottom only, because you need, man, those guys up there. It's going to get cold. What? Really, October evenings are going to start getting cold, and they're going to be cold through March. I want plenty of honey in that thing. Somebody in there, I saw Greg Burns was in there. He could probably answer that a little better, for sure. But that'd be what I'd say, because you'd want it plugged out this time of year for them guys. I'd want 80 pounds of honey in that thing. I see that. Oh, that's Brian out there. That's Brian out west. He got his wax melter. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, the only other tip I got is what they're using. I saw Brad Hogg up in Canada use, and I'm going to try and build one for my Maxent. Is some kind of like a round screen, and I think Thorn Industries makes it for his. You can push that screen. It's got rods. You push it down into that tank. So when you've got your wax almost drained out, Brian, I would take that thing and you could push that debris that floats, because not everything sinks. And if you could push that below that wax line and finish draining, I think that'd be the only thing outside of my video I showed that I would do. I'm gonna try that this year. I'm gonna try and build something for it.
We didn't even pull our redneck one out.
What is it?
No, we didn't. Well, you're right about that. We had just made a homemade one out of an aquarium, and I've been saving some old pieces of glass panels that come out of an 1890s house. And I was going to do something with them one day, and I finally found something to use them for, but I ended up I got me a paint roller pan and some napkins, cut a hole, and just threw that piece of old time glass on top of that aquarium, and you talk about that joker, it actually does pretty good.
Yeah, that Brian is mentioning that Maxent tank melter I got. I got that Hilco melter now, and I'm excited about that solar wax melter, because that's going to be something I just throw my brood comb in, my little burr comb and stuff in. I got one like you're talking about, though. You made an aquarium. I made one out of an ice chest, and it worked pretty good, but it's just too small. But all my wax capping stuff, I put that in my Maxent. I get them real pretty blocks of wax, as big blocks, and I like to stack them up. That's what we make our candles and stuff with.
Now, I will say, on that wax end, we had watched one of your videos a few years back, and how you was you had all them cappings in your tank, and you said you really wasn't fool with them too much until pretty well later on in the evening, and you take out, I guess, your bread knife or whatever you're using, and you just run that knife down through all those cappings and kind of chop everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And year before last, when we had an actual pull out of our another homemade contraption, but the cappings, we had done that with that old bread knife and chopped all the cappings and everything up. And it sure made it a whole lot easier. I bought it new. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it's amazing how much will drain out of there once you pulverize that stuff. It'll be a big old puddle of honey on top, and then you let it go a night or two, and it'll soak through. And then I went a step further. My buddy down the road showed me how to make them like hamburger patties. I'll take the patties and make them like that, and then I stack them straight up in another tank and let them drain. And you wouldn't think there's much honey in those. You let those go for 2 or 3 days, and you'll get a pound of honey out of those. And
wow.
Yep. Then I throw it in the drum, and we're gonna melt it all down. I got a 30-gallon. I probably got about enough to fill up almost a 55-gallon drum this year, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to be a lot of melting, but
yes, sir. We're rolling out them big blocks yourself this year.
Yeah, we sell. I mean, I've got 2 candles ready to go with me tomorrow to work that somebody's buying. I mean, we sell pretty decent amount of wax, you know.
You're too worried about burning your candle.
Well,
Taking back in the name.
That's what I should have done. Yeah, Jack, and they sent all that stuff to y'all, man, for that contest. I'm like, man, where's the actual entry at with all this other nice stuff? They sent? I should at least sent you I should have sent y'all a candle or something. I said, no way I'm gonna be able to compete with that bribe. I just go straight to the pastor on that one. I'll go to church next Sunday with him. Hey, you know, the 29th. That's my birthday, actually. I think that'd be a good thing for me to go do. Sit there and I'll sit on the
It's a
front
good
row.
day for you to win on your birthday.
Well, at fellowship supper or dinner we had this past weekend at church, I called the preacher and I said, "Look, preacher," I said, "there's one fella out there in Louisiana said he's going to try to get a note or something over here to you, and it just so happens to be his birthday that day. But we can't tell you right now what the name of the honey is. That way we got to keep things fair." And he got a good laugh out of it. He said, "Well, I'll be looking for the fella's note, that's for sure."
Yeah. Let's see. I see Russell said something about what did Russell say? I'd sell my honey everywhere, Russell. Market though every Saturday, but I still, yeah, that's what I saw. I sell it at a market every Saturday. My wife goes, and sometimes I'll go in the wintertime, but we sell it every Saturday. Been there since 2015, going to that same market. Unless we're out of town. But I got a lot of other customers as well. We sell probably half of it goes at the market. The other half is word of mouth and just stuff around here. Yeah, that's what they said on that post. Gift that was just a gift for friends. That's what they said. But I know I saw that care package. That's a gift. That was a gift for relatives. That was a lot of stuff. I saw that.
Well, it's more for, I get old Jasper over there.
Yeah. Blaine said, "I didn't realize we were having a how-to live stream today."
Well, I
How to here.
We'll see that
Not
text can
me.
roll.
I know.
Oh, I guess while we're on the youth real quick, just to make note.
It's not you,
Oh.
dog.
But just in case, we'll definitely know something Wednesday where things are going to go with this storm. But if it gets in our vicinity, I reckon, and it's going to put us in a bind, then we'll just reschedule the honey tasting for the following Sunday, I reckon.
So we're praying really hard that don't happen.
But right now, everything, ain't nothing changed. We going for the 29th. But the only way to change is if we get a direct impact from that storm. But
that'll give everybody an extra week if we do the storm.
well, I was going to say this too, because if everything continues to be on the 29th, if you was thinking about maybe waiting till midweek or so to mail it, I wouldn't wait no later than probably about Wednesday to get it here, because there was 3 or 4 of you that sent 2-day delivery, and it didn't get here until the 3rd or 4th day.
Yeah.
So just kind of put that bug in y'all's ear and on the youth. But Lord willing, we're gonna carry on with it.
We are. Because I haven't even thought about that stupid stuff. Just said that.
But,
What? So,
I guess we're going to try to go next with it. I know some of y'all out there are bound to have some questions for the equipment the man has got. Now I know we can't.
Somebody just asked that.
Oh, did it?
It flew by.
The chat rolling. See, bro. There we go.
That's so great. I'll have to watch the storm to make sure I get my bribe.
Is this?
All right. Let's say, Mr. Mike, going to upgrade my uncamping tank. Are you happy with yours, or would you have bought bigger?
Well, they didn't have a bigger one at that level. I'm happy with it. Um, the only thing I'm not happy with on my maxing equipment is that Hilco, and this is a shameless plug for Hilco, but Hilco wasn't in business when I bought all that because his is cheaper, and I got to help them at the Louisiana Beekeepers Convention. There was a video on that, and I try not to make it about Hilco. I wanted to make it about the convention, but I was there at the booth, so I showed some stuff they had. And one of the things I showed was my Maxent and capping tank. It's a great tank. The Maxent makes a nice one, but it's very expensive. But it was the biggest one out there. Out of all the different brands, they had the biggest one, so I couldn't go bigger when he was asking if I would go bigger. It holds, with my cage in there, it holds 18 frames, which, that's what my extractor holds. So that works out good too. The Hilco one, which is cheaper, actually holds more frames because all their wax falls to the bottom. It doesn't have a cage. And it's actually shorter and a little more compact. And that's their largest one because that was our checkout counter at the thing. And I was really admiring it, thinking, wow, because my honey house, now, if I could do my honey house different, I'd have made it wider. I'd have made it bigger. Because with my honey house being narrow, it's really, I shouldn't say, it's my shed. That thing is long and it kind of gets in the way. So a more compact one would be nice. But as far as the Maxent, if they are wanting a Maxent, it's a fine tank. There's nothing wrong with it. The basket, once you do about 15 supers, you're pretty much filled up. You got to do something with that wax in that basket. I have to transfer it to another tank to drain. Or at least the Hilco, you can spread it out off the bottom, but it doesn't go as deep. So you got to find out which one. Lyson has one. It's as good as the Maxent, but it didn't have the wheels I wanted on it. So you got to find the one that fits your operation best, I would say. But that Maxent, definitely, I do like it. It is a good tank. So check out the Maxent, check out the Hilco, check out the Lyson. Those are the three that I would suggest. I couldn't look at Hilco. Obviously, they weren't in business when I did it. But now that I see them, I did look at Lyson. I looked at Man Lake. I didn't like that one at all, but I don't like Man Lake. So,
Well, how about you? How you liking that hive lifter?
it's pretty good. I got the older one, so I don't have the best arms on mine, so I can drop some supers real easy if I'm not careful. The newer one, I went over to Horseshoff's place and saw his at the Abbey, and the new arms are nice. But I like it. I mean, you can lift I can lift a double deep with that thing and put it on the back of a truck. And
Oh, wow.
so that's what I bought it for. I bought it to do some medium supers when I'm by myself and to be able to move doubles because I do a lot of stuff by myself. And I want to be able to, if I want to take a double somewhere or move 4 or 5 of them to another yard, I can just pick them up, put them on the trailer, and then I can slide it to the middle, and it works out well. I like it pretty well.
Are the batteries on them puppies worth a hoot, or are you able to get a good charging out of them and you can run for a couple 3 days? You'd say.
I ain't charged mine all year. I charge it one time, and I've used it several times. It actually has a little solar panel built on top. It'll continue keeping that battery trickle charged, so it does good. You can lift all day with one, no problem. I forget how many hundreds of lifts he said you could do with one.
Well, that's good to know because I was thinking, well, them jokers so are nice looking, most definitely it help, but I haven't heard anybody talk about battery power on them. If you just get, well, I could do 10 hives and I got a charger again, or it's good to hear about. You can go.
Lord said I haven't charged my B1.
Yeah. You're not going to change a battery out. That thing is going to last a long time, but you can still lift stuff. You're still plenty young. You ain't got no problem lifting stuff.
I'm smart about it, Mr. Mike. I get her to do all the lifting.
He doesn't tell me while I do the lift.
Let's see. Old Keith over there in Larimore wants to know what's your favorite breed of bee and why.
I don't have one. I take whatever I get, whatever I catch, whatever I split. I do. I went over to Darren's and bought queen cells, and I had to ask Randy, the dirt rooster, like, hey, What bees is he running? Oh, they're Italians. Okay, cool. I really don't have a preference. I haven't gotten that deep into them because it's just running and gunning for me, just barely getting it done. So um, I do want to put in some of the. We got a program going on with the USDA Bee Lab here at our club, and possibly getting some VSH line queens from them. Um, but you know, uh, when you start getting into different bees and trying to keep certain genetics, it really gets, especially if you're catching swarms and adding them to your yards, it gets too convoluted. I mean, you're washing out all your genetics anyway, and so for me to try and keep a certain, if this was my full job and I was running queens and nukes and stuff, which I hope to one day maybe, and then I might would just keep 1 yard separate, but it's hard. Even VSH, after the first generation, those traits are gone. I mean, the second generation are completely gone. So if you're not managing them and managing your strain of bees, and Dr. Jeff Harris will tell you to get a queen bred with the traits you want. You pick certain traits, and you begin to breed and move and shake and mix and match. To really get a good breed takes you a good 20 to 30 years to actually do it and really get what you want, unless you're buying and you're managing just in your yard. But if you're trying to put different genetics together and all that, that takes years to do. But just to even manage a certain line for me is too tough. So I take what I get, whatever I catch. I would guess that most of mine are Italians, but nothing special over here. I take them all. I had Russians one time. They were pure Russians from Dr. Harbo. They were a little testy, and they were good bees. But yeah, they were. That's the only time I ever had a purebred.
No, we be on that. We just take whatever we can get.
Yeah.
Give us the all, and we got time.
Well, they do have. There's some that have their. There's genetics out there. There's certain lines. The Caucasians and that people want for the propolis. I mean, in the way they do in the wintertime. There's the buckfast bees, which they're saying those are pretty much diluted now anyway, compared to the true buckfast you're getting. I mean, Russians, Italians. There's definitely an advantage to running a certain line, but you got to stick it out. You got to stick with it. And if you're catching swarms and bringing them in, you're diluting it right there. Not because of necessarily the drones. You're just diluting your yard as you begin to start splitting, unless you're keeping them all separate. And then there is the drone situation. If you're breeding queens, you got to manage your drones, because what people forget is everybody thinks their drones in their yard are who they're breeding with, but they're not. That would be an inbred queen in some cases if they're not careful. A queen outflies that yard. Those drones, she outflies them about a mile most of the times. Those drones don't go but about a half a mile. So the congregation yard where your queens are being mated, that's way mile and a half away. So that's why you see these queen breeders with drone yards a quarter of a mile away from their place, so they can get their drones of that particular genetic out to the other congregation areas for those queens in the other yard to mate with. That's nature's way of that's God's creation, keeping them from inbreeding. So when you start talking about a line of bees and you start bringing in swarms, and now if your bees are swarming, that's fine. They're getting in the woods. That's going this far away. Now you got more far away. So they begin to finally get out there, but it's just a lot. So I just do what I can. Yeah. Brian Baker, he's up near me. He's up in Brian's up in he's actually in Pride, and he's like me, mutts. Yeah, Russell wanting to know about mite resistant genetics. The USDA Bee Lab is going to help us do that. But it's such an intense program as far as doing the Harbo assay at the end and keeping those genetics clean. You can't treat them, and that's fine. I don't mind that. But you got to do alcohol washes to see which ones you have to weed out before they get any further. There's so much to VSH that I think there's a remember we were talking about YouTube earlier. We talked about how YouTube can get you in trouble. VSH took off like wildfire, and I think so many people think it's some silver bullet genetic that they're putting in their yards. And if you go and really listen to like Dr. Frank Rankovich from the USDP lab, listen to Corey Stevens and what he says in his lectures and things they do, how they manage these VSH genetics. Dr. Harris in Mississippi State, he'll tell you, it is so intense to keep that genetic the same, because again, that second generation VSH, second generation, it's gone if you're not breeding with the right drones. So what you're hoping is to saturate the area. It's such a hard thing to do, but I am going to try and bring them in and mix and match that, try to get the genetic kind of saturated in the area at the same time, watching how I do my treatments and backing off when I need to, monitoring. So
I think we're losing this one. Like it's kind of freeze up.
I don't know if it's us or him.
I got a good signal. I'm still rolling pretty good.
Well, maybe us then. I'm sorry.
Let me switch this audio over here. Try it there, see what if it gets a little better. We had the same
Royce,
problem even.
Roy said he go get me some genetics that don't stink hard.
Oh, yeah, he said guaranteed to sting gentle.
Yeah, I like gentle stings. Gentle whispers and gentle stings.
I didn't know they had the option to sting gently, Mr. Roy.
But he must have got some of Blaine's talking beat. That way,
Oh.
idle down a little bit.
Hey, speaking of
Randy's-
Blaine, he said he had his body lined up.
Randy's talking about the store that he said, Mike, the last time I visited our store in Sevierville, that's where I met Randy. I met him in that tool store. In there. Yeah. And actually next door the day before I met Tom and Melissa from St. Louis at the Lodge cast iron store. And I always tell them, don't forget, I knew them before they all knew them. I knew them before any of them YouTube people knew them. I met them first.
Yeah. We got nowhere. We watched them a lot with Ricky on Thursday night.
I've caught them every now and again.
Yeah. Well, there's another. I guess everybody is taking advantage of they're allowed to talk about the M words tonight. Since we got a special guest on here.
Get that mic questions in while you can.
Everybody do it. But there's another one, Mr. Barry. Russell asking, how many times do you use OAP during the winter?
2 times. That's it. December. That's when I do it. I'm gonna do it in December because down here we rarely go broodless. So December is gonna be the broodlessness, whatever how you'd say that. The most less brood will be for us in December, probably toward the end near Christmas, maybe beginning of January. But yeah, I'm gonna do it then.
Get it out of your system, Blaine.
Well, I was just thinking.
You get one pass tonight. What?
Probably Todd out there in California having a Dirty Steve moment. Oh, Dirty Steve from Young Gun.
Oh, no, he just said, well, if we can talk about mice, that means we can talk about Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, Blaine, you better watch out.
Melissa and Tom said they saw me at that restaurant, but that was a couple of days later, I thought, when we saw them there. Maybe we did see him that first night. I just know I met him in the Lodge store.
I would say, out of the folks we met, and Lord willing, we can have the pleasure of meeting you and your woman one day. We're going to make plans to get over there to get on lease span and do a chat.
With Lee and the Southeastern Beekeepers Conference. Just everybody get up and do a potluck. Because there's like 15 of y'all in Louisiana. And then, 4 or 5 of us in South Alabama. Like Ed and Granny. And who else is right there? Bruce.
Grayson.
Mr. Mike Conley's close down here.
I saw something from Keith up in North Carolina asked me about my wholesale. I don't do any wholesale. I do one little small wholesale account with my honey. Keith, that's it. I don't do any. I don't. I can sell it all retail, so I make more money.
Well, you're selling it at the house. Boom, you gone.
What?
Just throwing it on.
I'm laughing at the man, but I don't know what you're talking. The
Yeah,
night
Joey's
you
talking
just
about
was in there.
Joey got kicked off of YouTube because he smashed the Beatles, stomping them.
I know. We watched this story last night. I couldn't believe it.
YouTube, man. Then they want to put you through training in order to keep your stuff going.
That's what I was.
I got to conform to your thinking, your opinion, or your. Don't get me started. Never mind.
They say, I'll go with you.
Oh, he'll go with you on that one.
Thinking, good grief, the man can't even smash hive beetle without having to take a course.
You gotta be gentle.
Yeah.
To be gentle.
Needs to be some of them gentle bees from Michigan up there.
Look, smash them next time with Q-tip, Joey. See where that'll get you. You talk about crazy. But it's where we at, Captain. It's where we at.
Unfortunately.
So unfortunately. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So going back on your videos, it appears you had you quite the hunt season this year. It looked like.
It was a good one. It was a good one. It was a record-setting one for me. I think the highest. I know the highest one I had before was just over 3,000 pounds, and that's a good harvest to keep you going the next year if you have a bad year, things like that. But that one this year, what I attribute that to is we had a phenomenal spring flow, one we don't normally see. I've seen a spring flow real heavy, but never as heavy as we had this past spring, and it was I was 700-800 pounds right there. So I mean, that boosts a summer flow big time. And really the tallow didn't do it was just average. It wasn't like it was spectacular. So we just had a good flow though without it being spectacular. It was quite awesome. I'm definitely pleased. So it's right at 4,000 pounds, just over 4,000 pounds of honey.
Was the tallow worth a hoop this year? I mean, because over here it really wasn't.
It was very average. Like I could, like most years when I start sawing on frames in the spring, I'll run across a few old privets that were left in there, some blackberry left in there from that never got harvested in spring, and then the rest of it just cuts so smoothly and it runs out like water because it's tallow. It's already wet. It's a wet honey. And from there on out, every box is just all tallow, smells the same, tastes the same. But this year, it was very few frames that you could distinguish that, yeah, that's tallow. It was a lot of mixture of stuff, I guess. Still tasted real mild, but it was a phenomenal, but it wasn't a super good tallow part of it. It dried up after 2 days.
Yeah, we didn't get one worth bragging about either. I mean, they got beautiful and pretty and all that, and the privet really done the same way. And we was thinking, all right, we're gonna get a nice little run. Privet's looking pretty. Maybe that's a good sign for tallow, but it just kind of bloomed and that was it. But
when's my dearth?
Yep.
My dearth is now. I'm coming out of the dearth. I smell goldenrod today, matter of fact. The dearth is usually July and August, and then we're done with it. How's the Connie got hit by the tree? As mean as, the meanest, but it is blowing up with bees. It's got a lot of bees. It's doing really good. I basically put a tiny swarm on top of it that I had vacuumed one night. It was under a stand. I saw it. I was like, oh man, I'm using my everything back. It was brand new. Only did one vacuum with it. Ran out, vacuumed them up, stuck them in a box for a week, and then that tree hit it, and I stuck them on top, and wow, they blew up. They absolutely blew up. So they're doing good. How many honey supers do I have? I got about 95 supers total is what I got stacked. anywhere between 85 and 95, just depends. That's counting my comb honey super too. And I have to use them. So I have to use them twice. I have to use them in spring, pull about 30 off, and then use them again. That's what I did this year.
Yeah, kind of. I was going to ask you a little bit on myself. I watched a video a while ago on the beetle traps the fella sent you.
Yeah, I did that one. I just did that video. It should have came out today. I actually edited it and had it uploaded last week.
I wonder how that goes.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking. All right, we'll get on. Since y'all done talked about mites, I'm going to go on to hive beetles. Y'all open the door. But we tried everything under the sun, and once again, without going off into everything, the peppermint extract and eucalyptus oil has been the best for us so far. But we did try laying everything under the sun, any kind of beetle trap they had out there.
We even made some.
Yep, tried to make some. Then we bought the beetle barns to put different concoctions in there to kill the beetle and so on and so forth. But it always ended up most of the times that they would just propolize everything we put in there. So it got to the point of, well, y'all, if you're going to propolize it up in 24 hours, then we can't work together on these things. So I'm not going to lie. One day, just got so frustrated with all of it, I just snatched every kind of trap, barn, whatever you want to call beetle trap, and just threw it away. I just threw it in the burn pile, what I did. And but seeing that feller there gave a bit more of encouragement as far as a trap that actually works, besides the beetles hiding up underneath them or the bees just completely propolising everything off to where, well, yeah.
Even
Well, they
Zoe was
propolised one of
talking about
mine. They did. One of them had propolis in some of the holes. The bees are going to do what they want to do with that. And they're propolizing it because they're trapping them inside there. They see them running in there, so they're trapping them in there. So it did propolis a couple of the holes on it and some of it. And I'm sure if I had them in more hives, I'd see it a little bit more often. But in the end, I don't put them in anymore anyway. He sent them to me, and I was like, well, I'm going to try them. Because, I'm like, whatever, more traps, But I did see his design. So I said, I'm going to try them. And traps work. I've seen them work. But they're just not practical. And especially with as much beetle blasters cost now, that's out of control. That's ridiculous. There's no even justification for that kind of production price. And to me, it's like, it's more work. But they do work. And they work best. The beetle blasters, in my opinion, work best with oil. That's my opinion. But that's messy. But no matter what you use in a beetle blaster, you can't clean them out. So when he sent me these, I got to thinking, my train of thought with hive beetles was when I saw a bunch of them, like, okay, so I go through 15, 20 hives. This is before I quit using them altogether. I'd see 30 or 40 beetles. That particular hive would get a couple traps. And sure enough, a week later, there'd be beetles dead in there, lots of them. But then that beetle blaster was shot. It was full. The oil would get rancid. The diametaceous earth, you couldn't get it back out if you use that. So I was like, it ain't worth it. Just keep the bee strong and watch the space. Always watch the space, even if you use traps. Take the space down. If there's an extra super, there's extra frames, get it out. That's like second nature. I look, I see it, I take it out. It's not, I don't even think about that anymore. And so what's nice about these now is I can still employ my old procedure where I would take and, oh, there's a lot of beetles, I'll throw those traps in there. Now I can take those traps out, dump them out, throw more in, and put them in. If I wouldn't have been videoing, I could have done that in 30 seconds and just dumped it, filled it, put it back in, and moved on to the next hive. And I don't put them in every single one, just the ones that are heavy. And after you do that, you'll see the population go down. So there's a good spot for those little traps. So I'm probably going to get some more from you. But as far as all that other stuff, I've tried it all. It's not practical running 40 hives trying to do certain things that you do. It's just not.
Now, y'all really want to sell me on a beetle, something or another, y'all build something that gets them before they get in the hive, before they get through the front door, but the bees can get in. Now, how you do that?
There's a guy in Picayune who tried that. He had these beetle baffles, he called them, and said the beetles couldn't get around the edges. I was at his house. He's a rocket scientist, literally. He's a rocket scientist at NASA. That's what he does. And he built these things. He had them at Man Lake for a while. We installed them, and he said use them in conjunction with other things. Man, they really didn't work. And then I saw the entrances everybody bought for a while. The red ones. Who are those? Guardian. That's the name of them. They didn't work. They just didn't work. I don't know. They didn't work. So nothing. Those beetles can get around some stuff. But I know a guy that's researching entrances to this day. He's still working on it. He's local here, and he has found something. He said that's working better than anything. So I'm interested to see what he comes up with. The beetles can't seem to get in the hive, so we'll see. But then now you got to get rid of screen bottoms, any of that, which I'm getting away from them anyway. But can't have any cracks in your lids. Can't have any. If you look at my equipment, I got more entrances, and they're all over the place because of rotten boxes. So.
They just like in blasting moss, anything like that. If they can't go in through that entrance, they're going to weasel in a little nook and cranny and go, okay, this was easier to get into. And I thought, oh, here they go.
And they're going to target weak hives. There's a pheromone. I forgot what Dr. Harris was saying about that. There's a pheromone. They're going to target them. They're going to really converge on them. If there's a bunch of them in a colony, it's not that I freak out, but I do look at that colony and go, okay, why are there so many in this? Like there's bees everywhere. Like, why are they in this colony that's strong? But what I have found is I have a colony out there. Since the day it got here, it's still here. It was an old cutout. It lives with hive beetles. It has a lot of them. And they just manage them. They seem to do well with them. So, but a lot of times when you see a bunch, watch and see what that colony is doing. It's usually crashing. Something's wrong with it, or it's going downhill. And they can't keep up with the larvae hatching. And that's when they get overrun. So if they're strong and they're combined before that happens, then you can save them. But at that point, if you haven't reduced the space, they're gone.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times where we've got in there and we pull the frame and you could just starting to see that little shimmer off in a corner or something. You know what's happening. Mm-hmm. And even just pull that one frame out and you're thinking, all right, I got that one. We'll get all the beetles out that we see. And man, just a few days later, I don't know if it's just because you missed a frame or two over or something and you hadn't got that sheen yet or what it is. But I guess you kind of get ahead of ourselves thinking, all right, we got them. Then relax for a couple of days. Well, a couple of days rolls by and before you know it, as soon as you get to that box, the first thing we pick up on is that smell. You've got to tell us there's beetles in there. We can pick up on the smell now and go, uh-oh, this is probably, going to crash on us and we'll lose this one. And most oftentimes, even trying to clean them out or put some new frames or freeze stuff, so on and so forth, if they just go down so fast around here.
It's 3 days. 3 days they can be gone because that's when the eggs, like they're killing those larvae as they're coming out. But an egg hatches in 3 days. So if the beetles are laying egg after egg after egg, it only takes you look at them one day, 3 days later they'll be slimed. And my thing is if it's summertime and there's even 20 beetles in the hive, say it's a 10 frame colony. If I see a 10 frame colony and it's got 4 frames of bees in it, and some honey on the outsides with barely any bees cover it, and I see a bunch of beetles, that thing's going in a nuke immediately. Like not even a question in my mind. I don't even think about it. I grab 1 frame of honey and the rest is their brood and that's it. And I make sure they have that thing is going to get. That 4 frames is going to go in a nuke where they can guard everything. Because if they're that weak anyway, something's wrong with them. And even like a 5 or 6 frame box of bees that's got a lot of empty frames on the outside and say it's 10 frame deep and it's got 5 or 6 frames of bees, I'll put those in a nuke. If I see beetles and I see there only that many bees and say there's only a couple frames per, they're going in a nuke, because those beetles, that's a weak colony, and that weak colony is going to get overrun because they can't keep up with 10 frames. You got to guard the real estate. And that's where I got to the point of doing that. It was just not worth all the traps and all that stuff, because in the end, if they're going to be overwhelmed, that trap's not going to do anything, because they got to run them in that trap. And if they have free reign in that colony, that trap, they're not going to that trap. They're going to go all over the place and lay eggs. So it's really, truly, there's something going on in that colony if there's beetles in there and they're overrunning it. Something's going wrong. And the only way that I have found I can save them is to reduce them quick and in a hurry.
Darren say he's seen a couple today. Usually he don't see many up there in Pennsylvania, but he got to witness that, I guess, that one high beetle or a couple of high beetles trying to hide or disguise themselves under that bee.
I see one, that one beetle. I don't even look at that. Like I don't even think my eyes can catch one beetle at this point, because I'm so used to seeing them. But their winters are so harsh that those beetles can't make it through the winter. Their larvae can't pupate in the soil over winter or anything. So they're not good.
Lord knows our ground don't ever freeze. Mm-hmm. And it's short. If it does, it ain't getting no depth on it.
Peppermint oil, enough said. Well, to each his own, but that didn't work for me. I mean, everybody's saying it, and I have one person saying it. I just hadn't seen it work. It just, a weak colony is going to draw beetles. I don't care what you put in it. I just have seen it enough that I don't. All the things, and I got Kent down the road saying that he's trying some peppermint oil and he's not seeing them in there now, but he's got strong nukes. So I don't know.
What we found out with the peppermint extract and oil is you got to stay consistent. If you leave a door open anywhere, and usually we would treat, if you will, every 7 days. We would, every Saturday, we'd go out, hit everybody good, whether we was going to inspect them or not. And once we did that, about 2 weeks, we was really seeing a difference in numbers. When we take the little slats off for the horizontal hive, and mainly that was our worst ones, because each one of them slats, it seemed like, for whatever reason, they liked them horizontal hives more. But whenever we'd roll one back, usually you'd see 10, 20, sometimes higher numbers under that one. But it got to the point where we wasn't seeing but 1 or 2. Now, like this year, our goal was to build the yard and try to get more bees, but we was working ourselves there. Then things in life, if you will, took charge versus us being able to get out into the bees every 5 to 7 days and check as we should. And once it got to where there wasn't nothing in there, that's when it just didn't take but 3 or 4 or 5 days, and boom, they just started failing. Bam, bam, bam. As quick as you could get to them, they was failing. But I go back to a while ago. If somebody can figure out a way to get them before they get into the colony, that's going to be the big money maker for ours. You sell us on it, but first of all, you'd have to prove it to us, kind of thing, just like anything else. But if there was a way to stop them before they got in, then I'd be all about trying to migrate over to whatever that may be. But the only other thing I can figure to try to potentially do, and in the grand scheme of things, it would just cost too much money for anybody to do it. But the only other idea I'd have is, like, you'd have somebody like Justin Ruger that knows how to build computer programs and do the recognition. And if you could hook up a battery and some kind of zapper that it recognizes that beetle, zoom, a bee comes walking through, it don't do anything to that bee. Beetle comes in, you could pop it. That's my last resort for trying to.
Well, see, that's what what you're talking about is a prime example of what's going on. And I just saw like DC's talking about does oil trays work? They would seem like they would, and they do. But like you're talking about, like, okay, so that's an idea that you have, but it's not practical, right? I mean, there's no way you'd have to. It'd be a lot to try and make it practical. The peppermint oil, I don't knock anybody that's using it or trying it. Hey, if it's working for them, great. But again, like you said, apparently you've got to keep it on a lot. Well, that's not always practical either. The oil trays, they work. The problem with oil trays is those things are expensive or they're a lot to build. If you got to build 40 or 50 of them, and then you got to keep oil in them, and that oil goes rancid after about a week, and it gets nasty and full of debris. Because I got one. It's called a Freeman oil trap, and you can pull that tray out, and there's dead beetles and mites in there, and but you got to change it regularly. That's all that oil you got to change. So then people put diatomaceous earth in it. Well, that gets all moldy and stuck together with humidity, and you got to scrape it out. So yeah, there's plenty of different things that do an okay job and at least keep them, at bay. But it's just not practical. And I heard, and Mike's, me and Mike, we butt heads here on this one because I talk to Greg regular too, and strong hives can get wiped out, but I've not seen it happen. I've not seen a strong hive get wiped out from beetles. I've just never seen it. I've seen strong hives full of beetles. I've never seen them wiped out by beetles. Something happens to the strong hive, and this is it. So you got a hive that starts to crash. You don't notice it's crashing. Say it's got a high mite load, but it's picked up some viruses. It's starting to die out. You don't notice it because it's packed. Well, there's a lot of beetles in there. Now they can't stay ahead of those beetles. When they can't stay ahead of the beetles, they might be strong, but they're crashing because their population is going down. And this all happens in a 2-week period of time. And so you go in there, the first week, they're still strong. Second week, they're looking pretty good still. Maybe there's some flying, whatever. By the third week, the beetles have overrun it. And everybody goes, my strongest hive was killed by beetles. And I'm like, you got to look at the history of it. I've never seen a strong hive wiped out by beetles ever. In the 12, 13 years I've been doing this, I've not seen a strong hive wiped out by beetles. I haven't seen it. So maybe that it's happening, but it doesn't happen here in Louisiana in my yard. I just haven't had it happen. They've crashed because of something, and then the beetles got ahead of them. It's just, because I got them out there right now, and there's plenty with beetles. I just haven't seen it happen. And, and Greg was down here. He's right here in my yard. Matter of fact, he's the one that bought my fifth wheel from me that day. And, I know what he's saying, but I haven't seen it happen. Just haven't.
So, the beetle doesn't attack the bee like the mite does.
No, they
just decimate the comb kind of thing.
No, so that's why I think when people say that the beetle wipes out strong hives, I don't think they're getting a grasp on exactly and I got a graphic. I don't know how to do all that. Like
they just overwhelm the hive.
They don't even do that. They get in there and they're laying eggs constantly. That's what the beetle's job is, to do, lay eggs. That's why. Okay, so you pop open a strong hive, right? And it's got all these beetles spread out. Well, they had them corralled. All right, so they have them corralled in a small area, and we just broke that trap open. Now they went everywhere. If those beetles are allowed to run around that hive, the way the cycle works, the beetles are laying eggs in all cracks and crevices all over the place. Mm-hmm. As the eggs hatch in 3 days, it's a 3-day hatch for those eggs. They kill the larvae that come out of those eggs. When the bees can no longer keep up with the amount of eggs hatching, that's when the beetle larvae begin to go through. And what the beetle larvae are doing is they're eating the honey and the proteins in there. Mm-hmm. And they're defecating in the honey. That's causing your fermentation and ruining your honey. And they're really not. And so what they're doing is they're going into all those cells. And if you look at a slimed hive or one that's being slimed, you'll see thousands of those larvae. Those are all those larvae are eating and going to the bathroom, eating and going to the bathroom. And as they're eating, they're growing. So, because if you ever pull up a pollen patty that's got a brand new hatched larvae, you can barely see it. It's tiny, almost translucent, and it's real small. Well, what they're doing is they're in that pollen patty eating, or they're going down to that honey and eating. You can't even see them when they're that small most of the time. So when the bees can't kill them, they begin to eat that honey. That's when they grow into those full-size larvae. That's when they start heading to the bottom, and you see the slime. That's all the honey just running out of the comb as it's fermenting. Then it gets to the bottom. They're heading for the dirt. So that's how the cycle works. It's not a matter of the beetles are doing anything. It's that they're laying eggs faster than the bees can catch the larvae hatching. And that only happens
by overwhelming. It's just they
right,
lay so fast and grow so fast, they'll get to where the bees can't keep up with them anymore.
But a strong hive will keep that from happening. That's what I'm getting at. A strong hive keeps them from allowing that many larvae out. It's just a fact. I mean, it's been proven in all the university studies about them. And, I mean, that's where I'm kind of like, strong hives control them. I'm not saying in 1 in 50 can't control them, that it never happens. What I'm saying is 99% of the time, a strong hive is not going to get knocked out by beetles. It's just something's wrong with the hive if it does. Like it's crashing. Something's happening to it.
If I remember right, reading on all that not long ago, that female beetle, she'll lay several thousand in her lifetime, and it's 30 to 50 a day, roughly.
It's a lot.
Is about what she'll lay in that one cell. That one little cell, she'll lay that many eggs in there. And that's when you get that grouping and that clustering of them. And oftentimes, about the only real, like you saying, they'll be so small, but whenever you get infestation, you can really see.
They look like maggots in there.
Yeah, but they just clumped up in that one cell. You can see there's clouds of them in there from all stages.
They're on the sides of the cells. They're up in the cracks and crevices of the frames. They're everywhere. That's why you got it. That's when they lay those eggs everywhere. That's why I say when I see a colony that's got, in the summertime, it's got 6 or 8 empty frames, or even just honey frames by itself. Ooh, I'm getting them out of there.
Yeah. Minnesota mites said so they're more like slimy termites in a house.
Absolutely. They're disgusting. They ruin it.
They'll make a house fall just as bad as in plastic termite. Yes, sir.
That's the big one what Philip just asked. That's a big deal right there. That what happens is so here's how I've done I got a lecture on beetles, and I studied all the beetle journals out of the University of Florida on these things before I did that lecture. And what happens is you throw your honey in the honey house, and all those eggs are on that. Well, guess what? As the larvae are hatching, there's no bees to take care of those larvae that come out. It's a prime example of what happens in the hive when you don't have enough bees to take care of larvae, right? I mean, it's like we were saying, again, no bees, larvae have free reign. So the way I do it and this is, you can read this in the University of Florida's small hive beetle paper, Philip, if you go in it, and I can send it to you one day if you want. I can text you a link. But at 55, it's 50 or 55. I think it's 55%. It might be 50. Anyway, somewhere 50 or 55% humidity or less desiccates the eggs, which means it dries them out. So that's why you see people able to dry honey for a week. I dried honey for 10 days because I couldn't get to extracting. So if you're drying and getting your honey house down to say 40% with 40% dry air blowing through those supers, you've killed all those eggs. You dried them out. They can't hatch. And so that's how, if you're going to put honey in the summertime, you pull honey in the summer, you best extract it that day unless you're going to dry it with some dry air. Because anywhere from 1 to 3 days, you're going to start getting those larvae. And after 3 or 4 days, they've ruined your whole box of honey that's sitting on your floor.
If Lord knows we still don't get no 50% humidity nowhere in the summertime.
I got a dehumidifier. I put a dehumidifier in my honey house. I turn my AC on to dry mode, and I put box fans on top of the supers and run dry air through them. And that dries my honey at the same time, but then that kills my hive bee eggs.
Were we drinking?
Mr. Mike, are you having trouble hearing us?
Every now and then, y'all cutting out.
Okay. I think it's our phone, but I'm not sure.
This thing's been carrying on for a while.
You'll go blurry for a little while and lock up, and then you'll come back.
I think we're getting bad signal.
This guy's good. There you go.
Okay, Blaine said we're muffled. Is it any better?
Yeah.
No?
No. It's typical. If it's going to act up, it's going to do it for sure. But
yeah, Philip, I would definitely take it and see if you could put a dehumidifier in that room. That's what I ended up having to do. I get it down to about 35%, and I don't have no problems. I'll get Joey to send you that. Joey's got his number. I might have Philip's number. I'll send you that article. Yeah, 60% humidity, they're going to hatch.
And Mr. Mike said we've been muffled for a while.
oh, really? I don't know what it is. I've changed the audio on this thing every single time I flip back over. But
I think it's just bad signal for whatever reason.
That Mike's which Mike is that? Not Mike from Minnesota, Mike. The Mike that's just Mike.
Oh, no, yeah, Mr. Mike. There's like 15 mics that come in this chat, but no, that one's Mike Conley.
Conley.
Yeah.
Is it? His name's just Mike now in the chat.
Beyond the Lake. If you see him in the comments, that'd be Mr. Mike Conley's.
Beyond the Lake Honeycomb or something. I know, Mr. Mike. And you go outside and turn your antenna.
I think that's true.
Yeah,
because it's got him buffered like stutter. It's what it sounds like on our end, trying to keep up. But
for Mike Conley, I'm calling Greg tomorrow anyway. I'm gonna talk to him about what he said about that strong hive deal. I'm gonna get on Greg about that. Say, well, you show me. Greg don't even have beetles up there hardly. Greg Burns. I'm gonna get on him.
He sees something called Minnesota Mike Bald Mike.
Y'all want to start turning on?
He was going back to Michael though. I know there's like 15 mics in here.
Yeah, I noticed that when I come on. I come on y'all's pretty regular. I like this little chat. I like all the people that it's just laid back, you know. It's a lot of chatting in amongst everybody.
Yeah. I told him that we're gonna have to drop the beekeeping chat out of our fellowship title every week because we hardly ever stay on beekeeping anymore.
Well, the thing is we are really beginning to understand this live chat situation and stuff. It's hard to get people to commit to come on. And whenever you're in between those parts of having folks as guests, because they got live too, so they have to work things in, especially us being on a Sunday. It's, everybody's getting ready for work during the week and all. But like I was telling Hannah, I said, I'm kind of grasping at straws as far as subjects because it's like you can only go so far in a subject in beekeeping before you have to turn around and come back and just kind of in a different way talk about that same subject that you talked about a month and a half ago or, not too long. But
Well, I mean,
That's
I
what,
think y'all do a good job with it, and it's fun because it's not just bees all the time. That's part of it. I mean, it's I was out here. I hate doing anything on Sundays after church. I like to just stay. I don't ever like to work and do nothing. But I had to go feed some bees today. Well, sometimes you just want to. Man, I got to feed bees today. Well, darn, I just had to work with bees Friday. Some days it's good to just kind of talk about other things and mix the bees in there and have a good casual conversation instead of getting serious about it. So that's what I like about it.
That's it.
we sure appreciate it. And at the same time, there are many evenings whenever we hit that end button that we're still laughing.
Where
Our
did
behind
that
roll.
go?
Yeah, like, good grief. Go
Oh
from,
yeah,
It's a good little
y'all go all over. Yeah,
oh,
y'all
that
go all
was,
over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been from cooking. One night y'all went crazy one night with something. I don't even remember what it was. I
Oh,
was
it
like,
goes
wow,
from butt whoopings to cooking to
yeah,
bullfrogs and slingshots,
yeah.
whatever else.
firing
Police
your
and
blood guys off the
motorcycles,
house.
and this is it right here. Will it show up? Let's see if it show up. 50%. That's the desiccation of the eggs. Oh,
Let me
it-
get that bigger.
Nah, it ain't gonna show up on my. I got this light. I'm in a dark room. It's the only place I'm allowed to do
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna send this to Philip though.
What is blue and smells like red paint?
I don't know.
I don't know. Neither mind. He got me on that one.
Yeah, for the Lord, last week, it's from,
Blaine said we can talk about dirt and rocks around here and it'd be a blast.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do. I mean,
Oh, Brian, you finally tried the honey bun?
Hey, now, y'all gonna get on to something there. That honey butter.
Philip said Tim's just trying to keep it going so he don't have to eat that pepper.
Oh, I did forget about that thing. I told Ed, depending on how to go with, we dive off into that joker.
Yeah, where are you at, Ed?
Watch it.
That's how you get him to come on, Joey.
Joey, no, I was at a football game one night, and then I forget what we were doing another night. Saturday nights, that's the one day I got off. So we got to go do stuff. And he got off, and then he set his chat up. So everybody, Joey does a chat on Saturday night now, but I couldn't make it.
LSU matters.
I was at the SLU game. I don't watch LSU. I'm a Miami fan. I was watching Southeastern. We got season tickets. They got killed by South Dakota State. I should have stayed home.
What you last year? What y'all over here for South Alabama playing?
Yeah. Well, that's when we were good. We held them up. We held up pretty good to them, except for the third quarter. I think it was. We started crashing a little bit.
I'm surprised South won a game. To be honest with you,
Well, they're FBS team. They got more scholarships, bigger players, faster players, but that's all right. We're a Division I AA, so it's all good though. We just enjoy it. It's like a date night thing and gives us something to do, and
It's coming this. Emoji.
Y'all ready?
Turn it, spit it out and start crying. Oh, that's hilarious.
They pushing that pepper, Mr. Mike.
I'm gonna text everyone.
I can't do pepper.
Come in. Thank you. Send him what's it called? A dragon's breath?
What he said the thing was.
Something?
And I did not. This is the truth. I did not look up anything on that pepper until about 10 minutes before we come on because it hit me. It was like, you better figure out what you fixing to get into biting into this thing because I'm not I guess, a real spicy pepper kind of person. This was just more of Spanky saying, you want to try this?
But it just turned into it.
Yeah, I'll try it for the show, yeah. Ed's still awake?
Yeah, I just texted Ed. I just texted you the link
I guess
DC said, wait, he has to take the hat off so we get a good view.
I tell you what, Will, anybody else want to come in here for a minute? I guess I should have done this a while ago. But we
Oh, is
got
that
in.
what that means when that link pops up that anybody else can jump in? I was wondering what y'all did with that. That always pops up on the screen.
We don't always do it when we have a guest, though. Just in case.
Oh, yeah, he asked me about that. I said, it's your chat, your show. Do what you want. I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, some folks are like, hey, yeah, turn it all the way up. And some are like, man, I will chit chat and all that, but I just don't want to get caught, I guess, and it turn into a late evening. Hey, we understand that. We'll talk about whatever from there.
That's all right. I'll be working on a bridge tomorrow and in traffic and everything. So if I'm too tired and fall out in traffic, it'll be y'all's fault.
I tell you, put them road cones up. We figured that in fire and EMS. They'll hit you before they hit them road cones.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, like, said you need to try it now because you cannot cut off the stream while the goodness is still happening.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Mr. Mike.
Look at him.
Okay, Ron.
Look at old Rodney.
Butter pecan ice cream.
Hey,
gotta
Rodney,
take
when's that truck going to get running? I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting to see that truck on one of your cutout videos.
I know, right?
Rodney bought my old truck from me. I sold stuff to YouTube people. I sold my truck to Rodney, my camper to Greg.
There you go. He got to spit his dip out, Ed.
How you doing, Ed?
I tasted some. I'm doing pretty good. I tasted some of this the other day. It's concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
That sucker comes with a warning label, paperwork.
Yeah, they got sued
A
for it.
warning label?
Yeah. Bread taker warning sheet.
Wow.
And then on the back it tells you how you mix it and deal with it's supposed to be added to your regular honey. It's not, but I tasted it by itself and it ain't too bad.
Ed, we're going to do another one of those get-togethers. We need to talk to Bruce. Do another one of them get-togethers, man.
Oh, have a dinner and then get together and.
I say we go all and work bees this time instead of just a few of us. We all go do it.
Yeah, last time I didn't know y'all had worked the bees, so I caught up with you later.
Wish I was closer to you guys.
Where are you at, Ron?
I'm 15 miles from the North Carolina border at the corner of South Carolina and Georgia. I'm in South Carolina. I'm right up in the very corner. At the foothills.
You
There's
were
so many people that come in.
I see Tim got that big old glass of iced tea. My wife just brought me something to drink here.
I think that's gonna make you worse.
That's what I was gonna say, Ed. That's probably gonna light you on fire. You ready?
No.
I do. Well, see, I put some rubber gloves on. I'm getting ready to cut me a slice of that pepper.
That's what they were getting gloves too.
Because I don't want to go scratch. I don't want to go scratch myself. I don't want to go scratch myself later, and I got that pepper juice on my hands, and then it doesn't feel good.
No good.
Whether it be scratch my face, scratch my eye, whatever.
I'm just glad y'all decided to do this on live.
Well, I was wanting to do it, taste it, take it, cut it up, and taste it yesterday, but nah, I want people to see both Tim and I both cry.
Hey, did you make him some banana pudding for this?
Oh, do I?
That's good.
Yeah, well, you got to give the sub something, don't you? You know.
No, don't
Wow.
pull out my pen knife and cut me a little slice off of this sucker.
Y'all gonna be in trouble.
Okay, Tim, lean forward.
that.
The whole secret. I'm gonna tell you, the secret to this is don't eat that vein and don't eat the seed with it. Because
Claremore said make sure you chew your food properly.
We had a big glass of milk sitting there to put the fire out.
You better have something.
Yeah, I got a little bit on there. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller.
I'm ready.
Oh.
You ready? I ain't yet.
You got me a little piece here.
Oh no, that's bigger than what I got. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt us stuff.
Cut that bad boy in half, huh?
That's how he's making my eyes water.
See the piece I got? I'm not stupid.
This is worth tuning in for.
All right,
you can't even see it on camera.
I'm smart. I ain't gonna do that. If it's gonna hurt, I don't want to hurt that bad.
Now don't delete that video, Tim.
No, it's not gonna be deleted.
Well,
right.
let's see.
Goggles. Yeah.
Take another bite. That's not enough. Try it again. It didn't work.
Need a little more.
That's like trying to talk me into try out a cattle prod.
Yeah. I got a feeling this is gonna hurt worse than the cattle prod.
Are you starting to sweat, Tim?
My goggles was fogging up for real.
That stuff is got some killer.
Philip Spanky said it was the dragon's fire or dragon's breath or something.
Yeah, dragon's breath is why I tried the same thing that Tim had.
How long does it take for full effect, Spanky?
Joey said give it a minute. It's coming.
I feel it. That little sliver, I feel it.
I feel some heat.
You're sweating.
You sure you hadn't already tried it?
I don't think I want a bigger one than I had.
Oh, man.
My lips are burning. My lips are burning.
I put it. It's not. I'm gonna be honest. It's not what I was expecting, for real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got some spice, and I don't eat peppers and things like that. Don't get me wrong. It's got a kick. Yes, it is whipping my mouth to pieces right now. But it's not what I thought I was gonna be gagging in the garbage. Yeah, I brought the garbage can. I just had to spit it out.
I thought it'd have a little bit different flavor. I thought it'd be more of like a little bit of sweeter flavor to it, like some of the other peppers.
I don't know. Can y'all see my eyes? I don't know if y'all can see them or not.
I think your eyes are sweating, Tim.
Oh, yes, sir. They are.
If you look close enough, the bottom of my glasses got water rolling in them.
I gotta go check on my 2-year-old.
But
I'm proud of you, Dave.
Well,
I'm not prepared to leave, but
His eyes are good.
my eyes are sweating. I'm not crying.
Mike said, what flavor is staying hot?
It's that hot.
He said, yeah, he got it through. His nose is running, his eyes are watering. I ain't going
Here you
there.
go, Tim. Here's some ice cream.
I'm glad everybody talked me into this.
Before I even hit this button, I bet you it's going to be Philip Morris.
Oh, I bet you it's Philip. See?
No.
Joey. Oh, Joey.
Oh, hey, Joey.
Hey, it's me again, Joey.
Yes.
Let's get
Y'all
started.
need something that you can really eat.
Is that a bell pepper?
That's a banana pepper.
Banana pepper.
Yeah.
It's got flavor.
It's okay, fellas. We're here for you. Just a
How
little
much
bit.
ice cream? How much ice cream you got, Rodney? You ain't stopped eating since you came on.
I know. I just started.
You got the whole bucket, don't you?
You got that 2 gallon. You got
The whole bucket.
no.
Okay, make me feel bad. I'm gonna go put it up.
See there, pressure in the guy.
I just come on here for a minute where I could say I've been on a live with the world famous Mike Berry.
Oh, stop it. Me and Joey was just at the bee meeting Thursday night. Man, we've been to 3 bee meetings this month. Don't talk like that.
Well,
I talked
Yeah,
on.
they
I,
put on
I,
their seat. So.
I talked on the phone with him yesterday.
But you can't get him on the live, would you, huh, Joey?
Saturday night's my night. That's my one night I'm
I picked
off.
the wrong time, I guess.
You gotta ask him pretty please and do it on Sunday night.
Yeah, Sundays now. I don't mind Sunday evenings. Sunday afternoon, I
Look
gotta take
at one of our slots, Joey, so you can do a live with a famous person.
There you go. We're not greedy.
I do my lives on Sunday evenings at 5 so I can come on before y'all so I don't interrupt y'all's.
Hey, we enjoy your lives too, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, but I don't do them all organized like y'all with all the questions and all that stuff. I just kind of wing it.
Thanks for organized. I played that one off.
We got them fooled.
Y'all always in the same spot, sitting in the same place. Y'all got it all lined out. It comes on at 7. You even got an introduction.
If I was brave enough to pan the camera around the 2 chairs we're sitting in right now, you would not call us organized.
Well, I'm not going to pan around here.
Jasper carries notes for him.
Yeah, he does.
He ain't even come visit this evening. He's out
He
over.
tried to, but then you pulled out that pepper and he went the other way.
I can see Joey's in his honey house. I know that room.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks halfway organized, but everything is thrown on that end. It's
I clean
piled up in 2 corners.
I see what it is. That's the junk on the bed.
I got to wipe my eyes now, Tim. My eyes are starting to walk. No, that's why I wore the rubber gloves when I did it, so I wouldn't have that issue later.
I don't know if y'all can see him, but he's still blinking like 15 times a second.
Let y'all have the show for a moment.
All right, now my lips are burning, so later on tomorrow I'm gonna have problems too.
Here we go.
I knew it was going to go to that.
That's why I'm being nice about it. I'm not doing nothing more than that.
We all told you what to do last week.
Don't do it. Yeah, well, we lined out everything for the South and
yeah, we don't need to rehash all that again. Todd promised we wouldn't go there.
All right, I'm going to get off. I just want to get on where I can be with Mike Berry a second.
No, I can like that.
all right, Joey. Thank you.
I'll see y'all later.
Yes, sir.
Spanky derailed us twice now with peppers.
I don't know if anything got seeds in them. I ain't dug that far down in it, but if it does, I may dry some of them things out and try to grow one.
Now, did you taste any of this? It's the what it's called. He calls it a concentrate. You mix it into 2 gallons, 2 pounds of honey. Just one little jar, which is probably about 2 ounces, 2.6 ounces. You mix it into the honey to make it hot. He calls it his concentrate.
Is that from Spanky?
Yeah, it's from Spanky.
Is that what we're supposed to do with them too? Mix them in?
Yeah. But he
Oh.
sent with this one. He sent with this one. I showed Hannah and all them. It's got a warning label on it, front and back.
He didn't send me no warning label, and I didn't. I tried. I have to say, his look. I guess the concentrate or whatever he got to me seemed to be way hotter or spice than that pepper was. But I had no idea. I didn't read the paperwork. To be honest with you, I just looked and started tasting stuff.
Yeah. The 2 ounces. Yeah, the 2 ounces is supposed to go into 2 pounds of honey, which disperses the flavor a little bit out a little bit. It's not so potent. But I tried it straight, and it did have a little bite to it.
But that makes a lot of sense now because I told Hannah, I said, this is stuff about like a molasses more than a honey, but you got to mix it into honey.
Yeah,
Now, that's together.
That's the star of the show right here.
yeah. He mixes it. He mixes it with orange, lime, star fruit, and grapefruit to get it. And that's what it's got a pretty nice flavor to it.
Mr. Mike, do you fool with them hot honeys?
Nope, not at all.
He said no.
Melanie Cruz sent me one time. I tasted it and I couldn't stand it. It's a big deal now though. Everybody likes it. It's everywhere you see it. Even Lit Pizza's got it in there. Somebody makes it for them. People are selling it, but it's not mine. I don't infuse anything in any of my honeys. I keep everything honey flavored, even my creamed honey. I just like it natural.
Well, the hot honey I sent Tim has a little heat to it, but you still taste the honey. I mean, you taste the quality of the honey in it.
Yeah, I like, I've tasted some of that. There was somebody at the show, at the expo that had some last year, and it was like that. But I guess my thing is I don't even like I call it normal food. Like, say I'm eating a meat, I don't like sweets with it. Like, I used to, for years, wouldn't eat dessert after supper at all. I can't, mix. Just like people with salt and caramel and salt and chocolate, not me. So, the heat and honey, to me, it just doesn't, I don't know, it's kind of clashes for me. But it's a big deal. People love it. And I've thought about making it, but.
Well, I was going to tell you, if you want to try something, this is just me and mine, but you said you kind of got away from the sweet part. But one evening I discovered they was making a bunch of jelly at church not long ago. And part of the jelly making was they was making pepper jelly from jalapeno. And man, I tell y'all, I got me a taste of that pepper jelly and I just fell in love with it. It wasn't too hot. It just had the perfect amount of sweet and a little bit of spice to it, I guess. But one day I told myself, I'm going to put this on an old steak, see what it tastes like. And I tell you, every time I bring a steak off the cast iron or off the grill, that's what I put on my steak. I go for that pepper jelly out that refrigerator and I'll load that baby up and you can just turn me loose with that alone.
Yeah, I've tried pepper jelly before. It's just, for me, it's a class. Like, I guess my mind knows it's supposed to be sweet only. It has that different flavor to it. I don't know. It's just a mind thing for me. I like peppers and stuff. I like jelly on stuff. I don't like them together. Like I like salt on my food. I like sweets. I don't like them together.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. Just a taste thing. It's mental.
It's like me and eggs and maple syrup. I don't want it anywhere near my eggs.
Are you talking about some
eggs?
fine?
Now I love maple syrup. Don't get me wrong. I love maple syrup.
Yeah,
I love
my eggs,
but not near them. I have to eat
right.
my eggs first. Eat like toast and some bacon and stuff. Then I could eat like my pancakes. It's always the last thing I eat because I don't want it, in the flavor with my egg anywhere.
That's how I am.
Yes, I'm the weird one in this.
Yeah. No, I bundle it all together. Eggs, sausage, grit, the whole kit. I'll have a big old Y'all know how it is. Shoot.
Man, I've never put him all separated on a plate, but he just cuts it all and stirs it all up into a big
That's
old
like your brother.
breakfast bowl.
Mm,
Brother used to do
Yeah,
that.
I know. I'll mix it up too, but I just don't have my pancakes anywhere with it. Yeah.
I'll keep my
I'll mix
pancakes and
my
waffle to the
eggs and
side.
grits together, but that's it.
Well, I'll mix my eggs and grits together because I like that over easy, sunny side, however you want to call it. But
Yep.
I'll mix all that together. Then I'll take like my patty sausage and I'll break it up. Boom, make me a pile.
Mr. Martin,
Get after
he said, I agree, Joey. Joey said Waffle House goulash.
it.
Scattered, covered, smothered, and capped. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's hilarious. Joey. That's hilarious.
Mr. Mike, we thank you, Captain, for coming in and visiting with us. And
We do, Mr. Mike. It's been the best little beekeeping chat we've had in a while now.
I think
Did we talk about bees enough? Because
Yeah. Still, we did a lot better than we normally do. So
yeah, usually it's about 10 minutes worth of bees, and it's
it's
another.
all over the place after that.
but
Hey,
it's
Mike,
a
with
fun
this-
chat.
What they're saying, Mike, is I'm a bad influence. I get on, I'll start running this all over the place.
It don't matter to me. I like talking about other things sometimes. I think that's another thing folks see with YouTube talking. I'm bashing YouTube a lot, aren't I? But with YouTube, everybody sees people. I talked with Randy McCaffrey a lot about this one day. How they think like they just see you in that bee yard all the time. So people, naturally think that's just how they think of you is in bees all the time. And they forget that you have all this other life outside of that.
Mhm.
So, that's what this chat brings people together. Yeah, we can talk about bees, but we can talk about life too. We can talk about other things. It's a fellowship. That's what y'all call it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it definitely is. I
And
think
my
it's a
pastor
good
team-
little break for everybody sometimes because there's so many. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's really, really good content in it, but a lot of the, I guess, more professional YouTubers are really good at just keeping it strictly to honeybees a lot more than we do. I think this chat is kind of like for the class clowns to escape and let loose.
Yeah, this is where they can all come, right? We all get to come here.
Oh yeah, like I say, it's quite often, even until the next morning going to work. We go, how in the world did we get on to that? Or I can't believe DC. We'll just use DC again. Talk about shooting bullfrogs out of a slingshot. Just whatever comes out. Well, outside of beekeeping, you got any other hobbies that you do? Fishing, hunting?
I used to hunt. I used to fish a lot. Not so much anymore because all I do is bees. No, I don't know. I just like to. I love the outdoors. I love to just take off and go vacation when I can. I like to travel, to different places. But other than that, hobby wise, I used to garden, but then the bees kind of took that over too. But it's really because I work full time and I enjoy my bees, so I don't have a lot of time. But when I retire, yeah, I'm gonna be back to doing gardening. We fish a lot in Minnesota when we go up there. Good stuff, but not many hobbies.
Well, that's kind of bummer on the fishing part. There ain't nothing like sitting on the bank, whether you're using a reeling rod or an old timey cane pole, and getting a load of fish to carry on to the house.
Well, now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't enjoy fishing. I fished last year. I fished up in Ontario for a week straight. I love it. And hey, look, if I go over and visit y'all, you want to go fishing? I'll go fishing with you. The problem is, it's a lot to do when you're working and you're busy all the time and you're trying to get away. And there's very limited places to really go without my boat work. I ain't had a boat in years now, so and fishing on the bank. Ain't no public access to our river down here, so I got to float it. and to float it, you need a boat. So yeah, but I fish. I went jug lining last time. Y'all know Bruce the Alligator Man, huh? From Swamp People.
Oh yeah.
I've been jug lining with him several times over. We go jug lining, fishing, but he's so busy right now with gator season and all that stuff. So it's not that I don't love it. I just don't do it much.
Why do we send you on an episode of Swamp People?
I don't know. He's catching right now.
Is he?
Yeah, I just saw him. He wasn't even in church this morning. Yeah.
You see Bruce pulling in an alligator, Mr. Mike pulling bees out of a tree.
Yeah.
Hey, his last beehive, if y'all ever seen any of his lives with his bees, that's my bees. And I helped him split his hives and all that. I was on live with him. But he's wanting to get back into it again, but he's so busy too because he does all those he's got to go places for sponsorship deals and all that. You'd be surprised how much that goes on because filming isn't that much, Filming is only a certain section of the year between that and the snake invasion thing he does.
I think Ian's comment was for you.
Look at Philip talking about the borders to the boundary waters.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I forget why I like to send people. Well, look, I got me some Tim Hortons coffee, man. When I was up in Ontario this last time, I bought me some a big box of Keurig things from Tim Hortons. I got about 7 or 8 of them left, man. I love that coffee. They got the best breakfast biscuits up there too. But I sent him. I like to send people the easy packs of Louisiana gumbos or dirty rice or etouffee packs. And even though I know what did I send him? I want to say I sent him some etouffee or maybe some dirty rice. I don't know. I sent him some packages, even though I don't know how much access they have. I know they'll have a lot of fresh seafood at certain times of the year, but I sent him a package. Him, Brad Hogg, and what's his face, James. I like to send people a little taste of Louisiana whenever I visit, whenever I go up near them. And I happen to be in Canada that year, so I'm like, well, shoot, postage has got to be cheaper from here. So we stopped in a small town. And I sent them all some good Louisiana goodies. That's what he's talking about.
I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Mike. I just had a cringe moment, and don't take it to offense. Whenever you had said a different brand name of coffee, because I was waiting for her to chime in, talk about, well, what you think about it? Because this woman, Lee, has got her turned on to so many different coffees out there. And anyway, see, coffee connoisseur. Let me get my word straight before the.
I think I'll be referred to as a coffee addict.
Okay, there we go. I was just going to say, there goes another coffee thing. I guess like me dragging something home from somebody's house I don't need. That is her version of dragging stuff home.
Well, there's something about their coffee up there. It's their basic coffee. It's their original flavor coffee. And Tim Hortons is nothing more than like a Bob Evans down in here. Or it's classier than a Waffle House. I can tell you that. But so much is classier than a Waffle House. But hey, I like the awful waffle too. But what I'm saying is that Tim Hortons got their basic coffee, their basic morning coffee. And that's where we stop for breakfast in them small towns up above Lake Superior and all that. And I'm going to tell you what, man, that coffee is good. Like it's just got a good, mild, nutty flavor to it. So I got to get it when I'm up there. So you ought to try that one, Hannah.
I'm laughing at the chat. I'll look into that for sure.
Remember that?
But, Mike said there are meetings for that.
But she just let me
Get up, Mike. I'm still in that stage where I do not have a problem at all. But I can relate to where we're
First part of resolving that problem is realizing you have a problem, Hannah.
I don't have a problem, Ed. I just like coffee.
Well, it doesn't help whenever you got ones like Lee, when we're on the phone with him about what it's kind of like we're in these chats. We go all over the place on the phone just yakking, but Lee says, man, I tried this new coffee and I was all over the place. I cleaned the house and I've done this and that. And her eyes got about that big around.
I need to try that.
And before you knew it, Lee had sent her some. Well, it didn't take her about 3.5 hours to get that bag of coffee down before she was ordering a
It
new
took
one.
me 5 days to drink that bag of coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, tell it for the people.
Mhm.
That's that death wish coffee, huh?
Yeah, that's some good stuff. No intervention necessary, Larimore. I appreciate it though. I like where I'm at with my addiction.
Well, I can't complain much because if that's the biggest thing I got to fuss about with her, then I'm gonna say I'm doing all right on that end.
My name's Joey, and I drank too much coffee. Yeah, tell him, DC. Let's see, 5 days, not 5 minutes. Get it right.
Close enough.
Button or goggles.
Goggles.
Danae said she's gonna start calling it goggles instead of button.
Who's that little fella?
We lost him.
They'll find us soon.
We just
So
Oh yeah. They asked who Mitchell was. Oh, here
they're
they coming in.
on another one. Hey, y'all are lost on one and they're on the other.
I'm gonna
I
have
think
to-
that's the best we've seen them tonight.
There you go.
That's the best we've seen them tonight.
Okay. I don't know, man. What this thing does, what it wants to. She says, "Well, there you. What'd you say? Push the button or something?"
Goggles hit the wrong button.
Yeah. But where I was going to say, who's that little boss man you got there?
Oh, that's my 2-year-old. This is my youngest. My youngest of 4.
Oh,
He's had a cold for the past 3 days, running a fever.
that's no fun.
He's better today, but he's still whiny, aren't you, buddy? Huh? Yeah, we have.
I get one when
We have 4 children. We have a 8, 7, and 6. 2 girls and a
y'all got
2 boys. Yeah, that takes up the rest of my time.
I bet.
Yeah. Everybody asked me, when am I going to retire? I said, I'm never going to retire. I'm just going to be tired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't trade it for
Well,
nothing.
yeah. But you got you some blessings there, that's for sure, brother. Enjoy. Well, y'all, it's getting late. We don't want to hold you any longer than we have, Mr. Mike. Thank you once again so very much for coming in. And
we really enjoy having you.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
It's
gonna
nice
head
seeing
on.
you again, Mike.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see y'all again.
He's getting
All
ready.
all right, Ryan.
So I'm gonna go. We're gonna go. So we'll see y'all.
All right, buddy. Y'all take care.
Good night,
I'll
guys.
see y'all.
Bye.
Shutting off.
Here's the back room.
Yeah. It ain't be long. I'll be doing the same thing myself. But once again, y'all, thank y'all very, very much for riding it out with us again.
Yeah, maybe we can do it again, Mr. Mike, just to poke at Joey a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Maybe what we'll do is this Saturday night, if we ain't doing that, we'll all just go in and crash his live stream finally and say, look,
There
we finally
you
made
go.
it. All right.
There you go.
Or we could do
So-
this. So I won't come on unless he comes on. That's the only way we'll get it. You got to invite them too.
That's right. Send a link, people. Send a link.
There we go.
Yeah,
Ed, thank you too, brother, coming in and chatting a little bit. And
it was fun.
everybody out there in the chat, hope y'all have a blessed week. And God bless you, Lord willing. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Y'all take care.
See y'all
All right,
later.
guys. Good night.
Y'all just X this thing out.